Just to expand on the patch from yesterday, so we have two video sources coming into the Visual Cortex on channels A and B, the RGBs from the time-based correctors. I switched. I'm no longer using the beta cam. I'm using the DVD output into LZX input 2. DVD menus starting up, how to lose a guy in 10 days. And then I still have this circle ramp coming into the key. So we're getting this key, and I'll play the movie. Okay. So we have this key that we can control with this fader. We can switch the in and out with this switch. I think the fading is slewing right now, which I don't particularly want. There, okay. So to turn the slew off, which means it sort of lags behind your physical movements here, you just put this knob all the way counterclockwise, both knobs all the way counterclockwise. Okay, anyway, so we got that. Switch them like that, and we've got this modular setup, so we can bring any signal to any of these modules and see what happens and then bring it back. So before I've shown how the staircase module can multiply the frequency of the circle ramp from here, or any ramp, but I'm going to take that H plus V ramp with these switches up, so it's a circle at the moment, into source, the source jack of the staircase, and I'll take the divided by 1 output back into the key. So this ramp is still going into this key ultimately, but first it's stopping by the staircase, which gives us this. So now we have a key that we can divide like that, and we can control its thickness with this fader now. So we're controlling the divisions with this frequency knob here. And if we flick these up, we can change the phase relationships. If you flick any of these up, then this knob comes into play. And it sort of gets a little more asymmetrical in the target shape. And so at this point we can play with different shapes by these switches. You get an arc like that, diagonal lines like that in the middle from the H plus V, or this kind of triangle shape. And also I have a triangle wave. It's a little bit complicated, but I have a triangle wave going into the voltage processor to invert it, just based on some sounds I was hearing earlier. I wanted to invert it to kind of change how it affected the video. But so I have the triangle wave going into this curtail to make it speak with the LZX better. And then I can take that signal, the out, from the curtail and put it into the frequency voltage control. Excuse me. Frequency voltage control. And now we can see the triangle wave is changing, sort of making it undulate. And we can use this scalar attenuator thing to change how much the voltage control affects the signal. So now we have this key of how to lose a guy in 10 days, or the key is the circle pattern and all that, and then the main video is Willy Wonka, but the key sort of drags across and it pokes through, sort of pokes through Willy Wonka and shows us how to lose a guy in 10 days with each pass. If I bring up the sound on the ARP, it's locked to sort of a beat frequency right now. I don't know if you can hear that, but if you get off a beat frequency, it goes a little nuts. But then it can find them. And then you can see how it works with the different shapes. And as always, you can try different video sources. It looks like kind of a couple boring moments in these respective films, but especially when you can't hear the words at this time. But play with different types of animation and things like that, and you can also do sort of experiment with feedback patching. So if I take one of the outputs from the staircase and plug it into itself, maybe weird stuff will happen. So the key gets a little bit more irregular and noisy. If I try that in the frequency instead, it gets way noisy. We can combine all this with the color controls on the Visual Cortex by flicking some of these switches. And yeah, can get some pretty weird stuff if you keep playing around. Have fun.